This is DRF Race of the Day. Hi, everybody. Dan Illman and Mike Beer, the DRF Race of the Day for Wednesday, March the 17th. Race number 9 at Gulfstream Park. Let's throw up the field for a very competitive mile-and-a-half optional claiming event. You can download free Formulator Pass performances for this race on the Race of the Day event page at drf.com. Access them, handicap along with us. Mike, it's a pretty wide-open group. You've got a couple of horses with back class looking to find their way, most notably the One Pillar Mountain, the 5 Focus group.
Yeah, agreed, Dan. I agree with you. I think this is a pretty tough race. Not that there isn't some talent in here. It's just pretty hard to trust anybody. You're right. The 1 and the 5 are the two, I would say, best horses in the race. We'll see if they can show up and run one of their good races here.
There doesn't appear to be a lot of pace signed on for this 3-turn event. We throw up the Timeform US pace projector. The 3 Trouble Coffee has been close to the pace in some of his races. As a big price, I think he should go out to the lead. Call Kurt's being tested for distance for the first time. He'll be close as well. I think Call Kurt might have an advantage because the way he grinds it out, this distance might be good for him.
Yeah, it could, but we'll see. I mean, certainly an easy lead could certainly help his cause. I mean, we'll see how it plays out, Dan. The pace really does feel like it could be key in here, though, because, again, the 1 Pillar Mountain, the 5 Focus group, they might be the 2 best horses, but they're also both deep closers. As
you see, they're not even represented by Chiclets on the Timeform US pace projector. They're expected to be far back. Pillar Mountain is the number 1. Stakes placed in 2019, just couldn't get started in 2020. Only had an abbreviated campaign, 2 races. He did have a start back on February the 11th, Mike, and he just sort of raced 3-4 wide on the backstretch the final time, came with a little bit of a run. Todd Pletcher does well second off the layup with these kind of horses, as we see with the Formulator fact. Pillar Mountain, Pletcher is 5 for his last 11 with a 450 ROI, with older turf routers going second off a 4 to 6 month layoff. This horse, again, has back class at the mercy of pace and race luck, perhaps. What did you think of his last start?
Yeah, I mean, he didn't really, do all that much in there, Dan. They rated him back like they always do. He was, on the outside. I didn't think he had a trip excuse in there. He was just sort of racing on late. He was no threat at all. The other horse, I guess, will be the favorite in here. One of the favorites in here, Focus Group, was also in that race. Neither one of them did all that much. This horse is plenty good enough to win. We'll see if he gets a trip.
Interesting, the 2 counteroffer was claimed out of his last race by a really shrewd trainer in Mark Hennig. That was a mile and a 16th event. He was facing a pretty nice field. Noble Indy is another horse with a lot of back class. He was able to win that race. Now, counteroffer's most recent win came at Saratoga last summer, and boy, he had a great setup that day. Don't Poke the Bear was in there, and I think he bolted on the second turn, and there was a lot of pace, and he just saved ground and got a very nice ride. But the distance is good for this horse.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. He did win going 11 furlongs at Saratoga, and it was an upset for him that day. But, man, did he have all the best of it. As you mentioned, the pace was fast, and he just sort of made the last run and just got up. His form since then, I don't know, it doesn't really do a lot for me, Dan. We'll see if he can show up and run better in this race. His last race, you're right that Noble Indy can be a decent horse. But, I mean, even in that race, they kind of dueled from a long way out, set that race up pretty well. I thought this horse really never made an impact.
Trouble Coffee is the number 3. He's only 1 for 24 lifetime. His only win came in a 16 maiden claimer at Delaware. Let's watch his last race. He was in a condition claimer at Gulfstream going a mile and a 16th. He was dismissed at 50 to 1 in this race. He made a wide bid, and he's going to finish an okay second. These are weaker horses. It would behoove him, I think, to listen to the Timeform US pace projector and go, because he's going to need a lot of things his way if he's going to upset this field.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the pace could certainly work to his advantage. Then he still has to be good enough. Even if he gets to go slow up front, then he still has to be good enough to win, and I don't see that he is.
I want to use the 4 Basha in some kind of multiple race wagers and exotics. 2 starts back, he ran over a good turf course, and he just got shuffled back very, very badly. I thought at a key moment entering the final turn, he still finished okay. The winner's all right. That winner has now won 5 of his last 6 on turf, won that race next start with an 81 buyer. This was not embarrassed in the McDermott. It just was overmatched.
Yeah, couldn't beat that field. Listen, I agree with you. I don't have any argument with anybody who likes this horse at a little bit of a better price than maybe some of the others. He ran fine 2 starts back, as you say, against a horse who's in really good form right now.
Focus group on the Grade 2 Pan Am for Chad Brown right here at Gulfstream Park in 2019, and he hasn't won since. He's now with Christophe Clement. He's now in for a 35 tag. He was far back in that last race. His second start off the layoff, he altered course outside. He kind of finished with an even rally in between horses. It appears he's not the same horse. That was a graded stakes competitor in 2019. I still think he has some ability, Mike. I'm willing to give him one more chance if he's 9-2. I'm not sure it'll be that price.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I didn't see either him or Pillar Mountain necessarily being great prices in here either, Dan. Obviously, if they are around the morning line, that's probably good prices for both of these horses. He just didn't do that much running last time. He's third off the layoff now. Maybe he takes a little bit of a step forward. It's pretty obvious on paper, Dan, that if he shows up and runs one of his good races, he's going to be very tough to beat.
Todd Pletcher trains Pillar Mountain. He also has the 6, Cowtown, ready for our race of the day. Cowtown distance, no problem for him. He was third in the 8 Challenge Jerkins 3 starts back. And I thought he got a really nice ride by Jaramillo that day. Dropped him inside on the final turn. He just wasn't good enough. He finished an okay third. His most recent start, they dropped him all the way into the 35 now winners of 2 Life. Actually a little weaker than this, and he was the beaten favorite. Let's watch Cowtown's race. There just wasn't pace for him. This distance is a little bit short. But I was still a little bit disappointed, Mike. He kicks on very tiny at the end.
Yeah, I mean, overall, to me anyway, Dan, this horse just isn't very good. He's a lot like the 2 horses who will probably be the 2 favorites anyway, in that he doesn't have a lot of speed. So he's going to need some luck. He's going to need to outkick 2 horses who are probably just better than he is. I mean, I don't know. His turf races, they run him on turf 7 times. Where's the turf race that I'm supposed to like? He just doesn't really do that much running.
Lake Nakaru, the number 7, another horse eligible for a now winners of 2 Life race. Another one going second start of the form cycle. Just sort of ran around there in his first start at Gulfstream this winter.
Yeah, he does. I mean, he's another horse who doesn't look like he's that competitive in this race. Maybe if he can get forward and get the right kind of trip, he gets a piece of this at a price, Dan. But another horse where it's hard to locate that one race that you really like.
Prefect's first start off the layoff back in January was okay, going 1 3/8 miles. He didn't back that race up in his most recent effort. He was down inside that day. I think he has a little bit more upside than some of the others, but he's got to start showing it. His best buyer of 82 is light.
I agree. He probably has more room to improve than some of the other horses. He was also in that Pillar Mountain focus group race last time, Dan. And man, he just didn't really do all that much in there. I thought he got a really good trip. He was in contention coming to the stretch there, and he just wasn't any threat at all. And he got outfinished late for the leftovers.
Go Poke the Bear is at least a 3-time winner for a very good trainer in Mike Maker. And he comes out of an open $35,000 claim. There are some good horses in there. High Noon Rider, a veteran, I think, has won 15 times. He was third in that race. Came back to run second for 40 with an 88 Buyer's speed figure. I think he has a little bit more tactical speed than he's shown in his recent starts. I think getting back out to this distance could help him.
Yeah, I kind of look at him the same way. I can't say that I love him in this race, Dan, but he's a horse that I could use if he's going to be some kind of big price in here. I think stretching out could be okay for him. I mean, they've only tried to go, longer distances with him 3 times, one of them in a grade 2, another stakes race at Belmont last June in that Tiller. So he hasn't really had a fair chance in any of his longer distance races. I think this horse is okay. And if he's a price, I'll try to use him.
The 10 Call Curtis paired up Bayer Tops in his last 2 races and is a very lightly raced 4-year-old. There might be even room for further improvement. Let's watch his most recent start. I didn't think much of the field this horse beat in a $50,000 starter allowance, but he just keeps grinding and grinding and grinding. Like this mile and his 16th is even a bit short for him. He finally does change leads. He goes by this even money favorite, and he is taken in hand once he goes past.
Yeah, he wins this race easily. And I like that he's lightly raced and feels like he's probably improving on his way into this race. Dan, I'll be honest, when I first started looking through the race, I thought I might really like this horse and think that he could be sort of a logical alternative. I didn't love that win we just watched. After I got done going through that race, I didn't like it enough to put this horse on top.
Let's take a look at our top picks for this race. Mike, you like the 11 Sabolian, and I would have our fans go back into Formulator and watch the replay of the most recent race at Aqueduct. He saved ground every step at a big price, but it looked like he kind of got in a bit tight in mid-stretch and was finishing with some interest, only beaten 2 lengths. The race might be better than it looks on paper.
Yeah, ultimately, that's why I have him on top. That combined with just the fact that I can't trust the 2 horses that are going to be favorites in here. I don't know if this horse is good enough, but he did have a little bit of a trip. I mean, there was a lot of traffic for this horse in that last race last November at Aqueduct. Not, suggesting he was going to win, but he certainly could have been closer if that trip had worked out a little better. His prior turf race at Churchill, he got a perfect trip that day, but he also ran. I thought he ran pretty well in that race, and he's another horse in here who could easily take a step forward in here.
That's right. It's possible we haven't seen this horse's best race. Well, it's very likely we've seen the best already from Pillar Mountain and Focus Group. I think if Focus Group does show up with anything close to his best, he's supposed to win this race. But we're getting to the point where, how much money you're willing to lose on Focus Group. It's been a long time since he's won. 9-2 might be a little bit of a pipe dream, but maybe 5-2 on Focus Group against a field of optional claimers. I'll take a shot. 5-4-1-10 for me, 11-1-5-9 for Mike. It's the Wednesday race of the day. Race 9 at Gulfstream, approximate post time 4:16 Eastern. Good luck.